Hi, fourth graders. This is Mrs. Howland, and today we're going to learn how to recognize lines of symmetry for given two-dimensional figures, how to identify lines of symmetric figures, and how to draw lines of symmetry. Before we get started with our lesson, let's go over some vocabulary to remember that will help us along the way. Today we're going to be talking about lines of symmetry. A line of symmetry creates two congruent sides. When we think about symmetry as folding a shape in half. So if we look at this green rectangle, the dotted line represents the line of symmetry. This is where we would fold this green rectangle in order for us to create two congruent rectangles. If we were to fold the yellow rectangle along this line of symmetry, we would form these two congruent rectangles. Therefore, symmetry can be thought of cutting or folding a shape into two mirror images of one another. Using what we know about symmetry, let's look at example 1. Example 1 says, "Is the line drawn a line of symmetry?" Circle your choice. In the first shape, here we can see the line of symmetry. If we were to fold the shape along this blue line, do you think that the shapes would be mirror images of one another? If you answered no, that is correct. When we fold along this line, these curved lines would not meet up to make two congruent shapes. Our second shape here is a square, and you can see the line of symmetry going from one corner to another. If we were to fold this square along this line of symmetry, would we create a mirror image of one another? If you answered yes, then you are correct. Our third shape is a circle. Here you can see the line of symmetry. If we were to fold this circle along this line of symmetry, would we create two congruent shapes? No, we would not create two congruent shapes. Here you can see that the line of symmetry would create a much smaller shape at the bottom than it would at the top of the circle. Our second example says to find and draw all lines of symmetry for the following figures. We're also going to write the number of lines of symmetry that we find in the blank underneath the shape. Looking at our first shape, we can see that we have a trapezoid. To create two shapes that are mirror images of one another, we draw our line of symmetry vertically through the middle of the trapezoid. Because the top and the bottom of the trapezoid are not congruent lengths, we cannot make a horizontal line of symmetry. Our second shape is a square. Because our square has four congruent sides, it is a little bit easier to find the lines of symmetry. Here we can see we can split the square vertically to create two mirror images of one another. We can also make a horizontal line of symmetry. And then because it's a square, we can also use the diagonals to create two more lines of symmetry. Therefore, we can see that our square has four lines of symmetry. Our last shape, we can see that we have an octagon. Since we know our shape is an octagon and it has 8 congruent sides, we can start by cutting the shape in half to create a mirror image of a shape that has 4 congruent sides. From there, we can see that we can do this at each diagonal of the octagon. Therefore, if we make a line of symmetry at each diagonal of the octagon, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of symmetry. Now that we've had some practice identifying lines of symmetry, our third example is going to get even more challenging. Number 3 says, half of each figure below has been drawn. Use the line of symmetry, represented by the dashed line, to complete each figure. Our first figure we can see is made up of what looks like a rectangle. Using our line of symmetry, we are going to complete our figure in the area to the right. To complete our figure, we will need to draw another rectangle that is 1, 2, 3 units by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. Therefore, we are going to draw a 3 by 6 rectangle against our line of symmetry to complete our figure A. Figure B is going to be a little bit more challenging, but here we can see our line of symmetry represented by the dotted line. Using our grid paper, we can see that our first line needs to be 4 units from our line of symmetry. Then we are going to move to the right 3 units, up 2 units, to the right 3 units, down 1 unit, to the right 1 unit, and up 3 units to connect to our line of symmetry to complete our figure B. Now you can see that looking at our line of symmetry, we have created a mirror image. Shape C, we can see that we have a triangle. Using our line of symmetry, we are going to make a mirror image of our triangle. For our first side of the triangle, we are going to go to the left 3 and down 2 to make our first point. And here we can connect this to the top to make our first side. To make our second side of the triangle, we connect our first line to the bottom, creating a mirror image of our triangle on the right of the line of symmetry. Figure D, we can see that we have a trapezoid against our line of symmetry. To make our first line of the trapezoid, we are going to go to the right 3 units and down 1 and connect this point to our top. To create the second line of our trapezoid, we are going to go down straight 4 units. To create our final line of the trapezoid, we are going to connect our second line to our line of symmetry. Now you can see we have created a mirror image of the figure to the left of our line of symmetry. Here you can see a few examples of symmetry in the world around us. We have a leaf, an apple, and a butterfly. I hope you enjoyed learning about symmetry today. Thank you for watching.